Welcome back. Episode 7. Took a little break. Got some R&R. We all got to catch up and meet. We got together, ate some good food. What was the name of the place? It was Baby Bird or Boss Bird.
Yeah, it's a spot called Boss Bird Chicken. It was bomb. Chicken
Yeah.
sandwiches. They don't skimp out on the chicken. It's delicious. They got fries. They got cookies. They got all that. But they even got lemonade. So it might as well be like a little knockoff of Chick-fil-A. But it tastes a little bit better though. It's not as long as the line. So yeah.
If you ever in the San Diego area, come on down. Boss Bird. Definitely check that place out. We got a couple good little chicken spots popping up around here. So if you in San Diego or heading towards it, that's our recommendation. And tell them our day went well, and you'll get a 5% discount. So try that out.
Yeah, but he's lying, by the way. They'll be like, who?
Yeah.
Huh?
Who?
Our day went where? Chicken? Sir, this is a chicken. This is a chicken shack.
We don't know none of them.
I'm like, who are you talking about? Sir, I'm going to ask you to leave. We don't know who they are.
Today's episode, we're going to cover the Zack Snyder Justice League. It is finally out. The fans have been asking for #restore the Snyderverse. Comment that below if you enjoyed the movie.
#restore the Snyderverse. I think that's the way. Yeah, that's the way. #restore the Snyderverse. We just gonna start it off like that. But Matthew, what are your honest feelings about this 4-hour cut, bro?
Okay, so I gotta say, definitely, 4 hours is a lot to digest, a lot of entertainment, a lot of media, so, definitely cut it up. They did a good job, like, giving us at least 7 parts, or, like, putting it in that, like, part, style or whatever. So, if you want to watch, like, half of it, stop it, and then pick back up later, that's honestly, like, I like that idea. And then getting to see, like, Zack Snyder's version or vision of the movie, because, like DC has kind of already gone down that darker route versus Marvel. So like for them to try and switch everything to have like more of an Avengers feel for like the theatrical cut with Josh Whedon, who did such a great job with like Avengers and also Age of Ultron. Like it was something. Like I remember I watched that movie and like it kind of like it just kind of left me like with an ant feeling. Like when I was younger, like I loved Marvel movies at least. Like I grew up with that. I would watch the movies, buy the DVDs, and like wasn't watching cable, so like constantly watching those movies over and over. But like now, like with those recent, like with the DC, like it's kind of like I could watch it and then like be done with it. Like I remember, Sean, we went and saw Wonder Woman, and like sure we was a little tired or whatever, but like that movie couldn't even keep me up. Like I remember I fell asleep at the beginning of the movie, woke back up like the middle of the movie, fell back asleep during the middle of the movie. Woke up like close to the end of the movie, went back to sleep at close to the end of the movie, and then when I woke up, finally, it was over. Like that was from Wonder Woman. Like no dissing, women empowerment, like everything going on with that. But like, come on now, like we need, I don't know, the DCU,
where
the DC,
Nah, honestly, Wonder Woman, it was the first one, not the second one. I can with confidence say that movie sucked. The second one sucked. I did not like it. The first one though, like it was slow. I fell asleep, watching it too. We were all in the theater. Like I fell asleep watching it too. However, it was, I think it was more focused on Diana Prince's character as Wonder Woman. It kind of delve into the background of her as an Amazon growing up, in that world where she's surrounded by other Amazons being primarily raised by women. And it's really dope, right? Because the Amazons are badass. Like they're bad. They are bad. They're dope. So seeing that was really cool. I really liked the mythology that they kind of dipped into, where it's just like it's not just some man wearing cape and there's no background, behind it. Like she actually came from Greek mythology. They talked about Zeus, they talked about Ares, and the fact that they showed Ares at the end was pretty cool too. I think it was a little creative how they showed how he was kind of lurking around and he sort of influenced different cultures and different people to, end up declaring war amongst each other. It was cool the way he influenced that secretly, and he just looks like a regular man, and then he revealed his true self. It's kind of like, you know, the devil incarnate or something. You just see, a man in a suit, he walking around just, charming people, just like, yeah, we gonna make that man do this, and it's all gonna be part of this master plan. You know, Ares was a god of war secretly, and he dwelled the earth just like how Diana did, but she kind of made it her presence known. So with that said, yeah, Wonder Woman, it was slow. I was expecting more action, right? You know, where us as dudes, man, action is the attention grabber for a lot of men. So if you see something like a Zack Snyder Superman film, it was nothing but action at one point. It was nothing but people getting thrown. You got sonic punches being thrown. You got one dude being thrown. It was crazy. It was chaotic. And it was to the point where it was just sporadic and just it was crazy. But Wonder Woman, in contrast, was more focused on the character. They had some really cool scenes. That one scene where uh it was during that like trench warfare scene. She runs out and she's blocking all those bullets. That was a beautiful scene. I really liked that. There was a lot of appealing, both visually and narratively appealing moments in Wonder Woman. So with that said, like, you know, I probably didn't get enough rest before watching the movie, but it was slower than I expected, and that's why I fell asleep. But Wonder Woman was a good movie though, and Gal Gadot, she's a dope Wonder Woman. I didn't expect to like her as much as I did, because we usually you're usually put off by, physical appearance and all that. A lot of people were complaining that Gal Gadot was skinny. It was nothing like that. I was just never used to seeing her playing a more uh thought out role. She was always just the eye candy, and I'm glad they made her and they added dimensions to Wonder Woman. They didn't just make her, sexy woman in armor just going around looking cute. No, she actually will F you up, you know. So with that said, Wonder Woman was great. Now Justice League, oh man, that right there, that whew, 4 hours, and I'm pleased. I was pleased with it, considering how I didn't watch the original Joss Whedon cut. I honestly didn't know what to expect. I actually watched a little bit of it after finishing the Snyder cut. I was pleased, you know. And after watching the newer version, I'm like, not the newer version, the Whedon version. I'm looking at how certain things. I'm like, okay, Zack Snyder's version was a completely different version. It felt like an entirely different movie, you know. And the pacing was pretty decent. That we could argue that there's a couple scenes that didn't need to be there and cut down and make it maybe 3 hours or so. But hey, Avengers Endgame was 3 hours. I'm sure we can sit down for an extra hour. We asked for this movie. Don't get mad that it's 4 hours. We were all saying, let Zack Snyder have full creative freedom with this. They gave him that freedom. He changed the aspect ratio. It almost looked more like an Instagram video or something like that. It was more
Yeah.
vertical. And when I heard about it, like it was somebody that described it. But the reason why he wanted that, he wanted more visibility vertically, because you have a lot of characters that can fly and they're jumping up. There's a lot of upward motion. That made sense. So Zack Snyder, when it comes to like his creative intentions, they're really good. I respect him. I respect him a lot more after seeing what he really was trying to do. And with that, I'm gonna go into the characters. I'm gonna say, let me start off with Batman. Batman, Ben Affleck is Batman. He grew on me. You know, growing up we live in a society where we all were. There's all this critical acclaim surrounded exclusively around Christian Bale. You had the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy that was held to a very high regard. And Christian Bale,
Yeah.
amazing, amazing performance. So, usually you tend to latch on that one good performance. You don't want anybody else to replace him. So with Ben Affleck, playing in, Batman versus Superman. But I liked him. At first I was kind of hating on it, but after a while, it was a good 2.5 hour film in Batman versus Superman. His character just grew on me. He was more gritty. I have a couple complaints about, Batman versus Superman, but you know, it was a flawed film. It was edited by Warner Brothers and executives and whatnot, the people that, the higher ups that were calling the shots. They really hindered the true creative integrity of the film. Even with that original cut that dropped, it had issues, it had flaws. I'd say you won't find as much flaws in Justice League. It was a more cohesive storyline. I knew what was going on. There were no missing bits. Things made sense. Even with the main villain, Steppenwolf. He basically, for those of you that still don't get the premise of the film, and these are going to be spoilers. This is spoiler talk. If you guys haven't seen it, watch it.
Yeah, click out the video.
Yeah, click out the video. Steppenwolf, he sets out to find these 3 mysterious cubes called the Mother Boxes. I kept messing up and calling them the Wonder Boxes for a minute, but the Mother Boxes. He's searching for 3 of them that are scattered around planet Earth, and he's doing that to basically make up for a past wrong for his superior, Darkseid. If you don't know who Darkseid is, he's basically the DC universe's equivalent to Thanos. And he is very powerful. Instead of the Infinity Gauntlet, he basically has he's incredibly strong, and he has this really, really creepy ability called the Omega Beam that it zigs and zags all over the place, and it has to hit something. So basically that means it's destined to wreak havoc on anyone or anything. So if it doesn't hit Batman, it's going to hit a building. That whole building just going to be reduced to ashes. So with that said, Steppenwolf, he's looking to find and validate himself and find redemption because he apparently betrayed him. Now, that was a cool little detail. I'm glad that they added just a little bit more with Steppenwolf, that they were able to describe his motivation. Like, it might not have been the most thought out and super, dimensional Thanos type of story where they kind of had you feel emotion for him or anything, but you were able to understand why he was doing it. He did have motivation toward searching for these Mother Boxes, and he was very, very determined. So I liked what they did with Steppenwolf. He was cool. I liked him. I thought he looked really goofy in the Joss Whedon version. So the fact that Zack Snyder was able to scrap all that and give him his more alien, super stocky, and just really, I don't even know, just super. He just looked really alien, and it was really cool. And the armor felt reminiscent of like the Michael Bay Decepticon look. It's all these tiny, tiny moving parts. It was all over the place, but I think the design was definitely, it was a little too much going on with the design, but I was able to brush that to the side. It was just cool seeing Steppenwolf look more scary and intimidating and more alien. Because when you're talking about some beings that come from another planet, you expect them to not look like Superman or a human. You know what I mean? But, it's happened before in the comics. He looks more like a human in the comics, but that's neither here or there. Steppenwolf, he's looking for these Mother Boxes, and of course Batman, after all the events that took place in BVS, he's looking to form a team. Now, we've heard that before. Tony Stark did it in the MCU, but we're talking about the DCEU though. We're talking about DC. I like how they showed sort of a character arc with Batman. He was so trigger happy, and he was just killing everybody, and it made no sense. You're just like, why is he doing that? But you sort of see the emotion and the regret that he had toward how he originally felt towards Superman. Where he originally hated him and wanted to humiliate him and kill him and get rid of him after all the havoc that was wreaked on in Metropolis, and the people that he cared about, that he worked with that battle that happened between Superman and General Zod. I felt like that was really cool. Of course, it has imperfections. Zack Snyder, he definitely he wants to do a lot, and that is both to the detriment and to the the benefit for his career, if you know what I mean. Like he's very ambitious. Too much ambition can it can mess things up. And I think all that ambition, it harmed Batman versus Superman, but it kind of it worked out better for Justice League. So Batman, I loved Batman. Oh man, so who else? Wonder Woman. She felt more she felt more human in this movie. I don't know how to describe it. She's been chilling she's been chilling in regular mundane society for several decades now, ever since the First World War. Now we're chilling in modern day. She ends up saving these kids from getting sprayed down with an assault rifle. That was pretty intense. It looked far less humorous and bubbly, like how Joss Whedon was trying to portray it. It was less colorful. It was more gritty. It was more intense, and it was dark. It's Zack Snyder we're talking about here. The whole scene felt different. So that scene I really liked, how she was blocking all the bullets, threw the bomb in the air, and just absolutely obliterated dude with the braces. Boom. That was really cool. Um, who else? Aquaman.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say Cyborg. He honestly got, like, I would say, the most like character development, or not character development, but like more screen time, because in the first, like, yeah, the Josh Whedon cut, like there was no like telling his origin and all that. He just kind of showed up. He was a robot man, and then that was it. But like this one, we got to see more of his background, and then like they kind of fleshed out the relationship between him and his father, Silas Stone, who works at Star Labs, and like kind of explained, put that more in depth, and then like also had like Silas have his couple parts where, like, they broke into Star Labs, and then he was like, "This is fake. Like, this shouldn't be going on." He's trying to bring everybody back inside, and he noticed, like, okay, they're trying to get something done. Didn't even have to say anything to each other. They just like kind of gave each other a look, and then like, yeah, this is a real alarm. Like, nobody comes inside the building until I say so. So like the fact that he was that supportive of a father, and like ended up even taking his own life when he grabbed the that last mother box and like wanted to like put a heat signature or something exactly on it. You remember? Like he trapped himself inside like that box, that glass box last, and then like heated it up, and then like the thing, like the room, like imploded, like it was an explosion, and he was gone. Like the motherfucker's whole body was just like evaporated, and then like the box was left. Steppenwolf, I think, came in, took it, and dipped out. So like it was good. I like that, like that part of the movie, like, yeah, showing more of the relationship, like the whole father son aspect. Like I don't know. It seemed like Victor was very upset, like about not only like losing his body and dealing with like kind of like an identity crisis of sorts, because like, how am I supposed to live like this? Like, I'm a half robot man. He had the eye, had the little blinking red light on his head and all that. And it's like, yeah, it's an adjustment, definitely. So I like that. That was my favorite thing about at least Cyborg. Like, he's my favorite character to see in that movie.
Yeah.
Aquaman as well.
Oh yeah. So speaking of Cyborg, I was pleasantly surprised because I remember looking at him and I'm like, okay, Cyborg looks dope. But I heard just so many complaints with the theatrical cut of Justice League, how Cyborg just felt just thrown in. It didn't feel right. So with all the issues that the original cut had, a lot of people started suspecting, like, hey, this wasn't what Zack was trying to do. He wanted the movie to be longer. He had enough scenes that would flesh, like, it was just more fleshed out. There was more details. There was enough where you understood the character's story without it being a whole film. And I think, me personally, they did a really solid job with Victor Stone. They showed his background. They hinted to his hacking abilities. You're just like, your son's not supposed to hack his classmates' grades, and it shows that level of humanity where he was the football captain. He was a very, very successful student. He was out there. He's out here winning Gotham, games for Gotham City. Like he's putting Gotham on the map. He's balling. He's doing dope things. And then he wins a football game and he realizes his father ain't there. So already. He didn't really have to say much. Didn't really have to say much. He was disappointed that his father wasn't there. They already made it apparent that, yeah, dad's always working. I'm tired of this. Mom, stop defending him. I don't want to hear it. I already know he's at work. He didn't make it to the game. This is my big moment. He wasn't there because he at work. And then they get into a car crash. Body is completely ruined. Mother doesn't make it. And you see the emotion behind his father. He's not trying to abandon his son. He's passionate behind his work. He works at Star Labs. Star Labs. We could talk about the importance of Star Labs in the comics in DC another time, but Star Labs, that's what I want to say. That's where the Flash worked at one point. I
Hmm.
might be wrong, but they ended up studying, and I want to say Star Labs, they fully uncovered the Speed Force and they really explained what it is that the Flash was capable of. But with Silas Stone, I genuinely, like, I'm not gonna lie, I actually got a little choked up seeing Silas Stone reacting to Victor in his deathbed. He's just like, I'm not gonna let you die. I'm not gonna let you die. That's not gonna happen. You know, you saw the pain in his eyes. Like, he was so just hurt. He's just like, no, my wife is gone. I'm not gonna lose you. So he did everything he could, and he discovered how one of those mother boxes can bring people to life. Now, the importance of that, it comes up later in the film, which was pretty cool. But he, unbeknownst to Silas, he created Cyborg. And Victor hated him. He hated the way he looked. He hated what happened. He hated his upbringing with how his father would always work. It was cool, and they pulled that off in what, 15 minutes. That's all we
Hmm.
needed. That's all we needed. And I liked Cyborg straight up. Now, in the back of my head, I'm just like, wasn't Cyborg more energetic? But I'm thinking about the cartoon. No, no, man. I'm sure last I remembered, the original Titans, it wasn't even called Teen Titans. Titans. It was a darker vibe. It was more serious. So I like how they they did that with each character. They did that with each character. They showed enough with each character to show, so you can see what each character is about. They show how Aquaman. I like that twist with Aquaman. He feels more like that. The I don't even know. He's like that grungy dude, bro, that you run across at the bar or something. He's super big dude. He can chug down a pint of beer in 3 seconds. But he's there. He's here for his people. He wants nothing to do with Atlantis because he felt like Atlantis wronged his mother. He has his feelings toward Atlantis. They added a sense of humanity, and they added enough with each character to where you understood what they were about. You didn't get a whole full length film with each character. Some of them already have their own movies. Aquaman has his own. Wonder Woman got his own. Superman got his own. But when it comes to the Flash, Cyborg, Batman, they got enough where you understood and you were able to like them a little bit more. Now the Flash, I like the moment you see him, he was the instant comic relief. Where I expected to be little to no humor, there surprisingly was enough humor to where I just liked it better. It was Zack Snyder's humor where he wasn't forcing it, but I like how he wanted each character to feel comic accurate. And that's what I respect about Zack Snyder. He might, sometimes his stories might be a little bit flawed. The cohesiveness might be all over the place. Some of that wasn't really his fault, but his intentions, I feel, were genuine. And you can see that. I feel like there's all this passion, all this stuff that he wanted to do that he wasn't able to for the past, 3 years and some change. He was finally able to do that. So, I saw one video with Tyrone Magnus. It was hilarious. He's just like, you can't get mad at Justice League being 4 hours when there are films like the Ten Commandments that were 4 hours. There are films like Endgame that were 3 hours. Just like Zack Snyder can make a 4 hour film, you know? Why can't we allow more creative freedom? Apparently, without, you know, executives and producers like calling the shots all the time, that can hinder the true vision behind the film. There's even talks of Suicide Squad with David Ayer. Apparently, there's an entirely different cut. but it was just a higher demand with Zack Snyder. I love Barry Allen. I love Wonder Woman, Batman, every single character. And with that mother box that brought Superman to life, that was the same one that turned Victor in the cyborg. And they were all standing there in the same room, just like, if this happened with Victor, I'm not gonna say it. It was hilarious. Like Barry Allen's just like, I'm not gonna say it, but we can resurrect Superman. They resurrect him. We get that iconic black suit. A lot of people were expecting the long mullet. I mean, he was
I say I
dead.
was one.
Yeah, he was dead. A lot of people were expecting him to look more rugged. I mean, he was dead for I don't know how long. I don't. Matter of fact, I want to say it picked up not long after BVS left off, or right after. Like exactly where it left off, because literally it begun with Superman dying, and it's literally his death cry that woke those boxes up. It was really cool. I really liked what they did. There's so much in that movie that I enjoyed, but I'm not going to talk about every single thing because it's a lot. Like, we literally have to make a 4-hour video to talk about this 4-hour movie, man. But man, I'm not trying to get long winded. I want Matthew to speak more on it. But the only thing I'm gonna end off with is that I loved the ending. The ending was amazing. I loved it. Um, Martian Manhunter showing up. I surprisingly didn't expect that. I knew he'd be in the movie, just the way they pulled it off with him being disguised as Martha Kent. That surprised me. At first, I thought she was disguised as one of the parademons. I was wrong. I think that was a cool little misdirect. I'm like, oh, cool, dope. Martian Manhunter's there, and he's powerful too. Um, and that premonition that both Cyborg and Batman had, it was so good. It was so cool. You saw just how dark and how messed up things ended up. And it's like, it made you kind of think, where it's like, man, this was bound to happen. Even if Steppenwolf didn't end up doing what he was meaning to do with those mother boxes, Darkseid, he already won. They already discovered something that was called the anti-life equation. Apparently, that plays a big role on Darkseid basically taking over planet Earth, and it's desolate. It's just dirt. It just looks like a massive desert. Everything is just nothing but dirt and sand. You got Batman walking around with a trench coat. You got Flashpoint. You got Flashpoint Barry Allen with the helmet on and the beard. I'm like, it was gritty, man. It was gritty. You have Aquaman's girl Mara walking around, Deathstroke, Joker. That whole team up was dope. And Cyborg. Cyborg was there too. It was dope. It was dope. And I'm like, yo, I hate that it had to end on that cliffhanger. But if us shouting out hashtag restore the Snyderverse helps, hey, it worked with release the Snyder cut, it'll work with this. You know what I mean? And with this high demand, Warner Brothers is bound to make bank off of this. They're already doing the big movie releases every month. Yo, we got Kong versus Godzilla dropping, People want to see that. Look, sometimes it's not rocket science. Sometimes fan service is bound to be successful. This wasn't for the critics. This is for us. So that right there, I don't care about the bad Metacritic ratings. Nobody cares what Metacritic thinks. Nobody cares what they think. You know what I mean? But
Get us attacked.
exactly. I'm like, bro, I don't care. But you know, that man, it was a lot, but I really enjoyed it because I didn't watch the original cut. So I came in fresh watching this, and it was far more cohesive. Oh man, it was dope. I'm gonna have to give this strictly as a fan of the source material, as a fan of these DC characters. This is a solid like 8 out of 10 for me, man. Like that, I don't know how else to say it. there's a lot more I could go on about, but I'm getting long winded. 8 out of
Hey,
10. What else you got to say, Matt? Man, I want to hear more of your thoughts.
okay. I mean, if we're going on ratings, I'd probably give it a yeah. It was a pretty good movie. Like honestly, like from like yeah, Sean has the perspective of going in fresh, like seeing this movie for the first one and not even seeing the theatrical cut. So his opinion isn't skewed by anything else. But like with me, like saw the theatrical version, saw Josh Whedon, understanding his past work and all of that. So seeing that, comparing both movies, like I have to say, definitely I enjoyed like the fleshed out Snyder version more. It gave us more lore and like I feel like it was more for the fans and the comic, like the people that really reads the comics and like understands like or like just wants to see like their favorite characters on the big screen. So like personally, like like I would have wanted it to be like all these individual characters got their own individual movie first, just so they had the time for the origin, and then like we could kind of care for these characters more. Like they kind of just threw in Flash, they threw in Cyborg. Like those are two new characters that like people just seeing for the first time on the screen. So like it kind of like okay, like how are we gonna care what happens to them or like anything like that? Like of course you care about your characters, but I don't know. I feel like if they took more time to develop the universe more, then it would have done them more good. Because like we got Batman that's already done this for 20 years. We got Superman that's fresh on the scene and just becoming Superman, and then Wonder Woman's been around for like they said she's like 5,000 years old or plus more. So like we got all these characters that are ranging with like so much history of their own. And like, I guess, we don't, no one wants to see another origin movie. Like we've seen Batman's story, we've seen Spider-Man's story, we don't need like a bunch more origin movies. But like, it's still nice, I guess. But, to each their own. So definitely enjoyed the movie and looking forward to see what else they do. Whether that,
Absolutely.
whether that apocalyptic scene leads to like a Injustice movie, if we get that, that whole universe and that whole comic book series that happened, that would be cool to see. Definitely expecting a Flashpoint. So I have to wait and see what happens next. That's all I got to say on
Yeah.
the topic too.
Honestly, yeah, I fully agree. If we could ever, if a sequel follow up ever sees the light of day, Dark Side, all that, it'll be dope. Man, when it comes to DC storylines, they're just fascinating because there's just so much more that they pull off in a way that Marvel hasn't. Where Marvel mainly have Marvel, I don't know, man. Like I love Marvel. Of course, I love Marvel, but when it comes to the characters, I feel like DC just, I don't know, their narratives and just some of their big story arcs, they're just more iconic. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Marvel, they have great stories, they have amazing characters, you know what I mean? But I'd love to see those stories be put to the, put on the big screen or little screen. I watched this on my phone, bro. Like I watched this on my phone. I watched this on my desktop, man. Like I loved it. I loved it. Yeah, all I gotta say, man, if if they manage to explain a little bit more and show off what the Flash can do in the upcoming film and hopefully carry on and do some really cool things in this DC universe, then I'm all for it. It just needs to be more consistent. It needs to be more airtight like Marvel. That's all I'm gonna say about the DC universe, extended universe. The film universe in its entirety. But other than that, the Snyder cut was dope. I loved it. I honestly don't really have that many complaints. It was just cool seeing this. Cool knowing that it was real and he was able to actually put it out there, and I hope that he's given the chance to really do what he wasn't able to. And there's a lot that happened. He dealt with the tragedy of, his own daughter, taking his life, that that right there, I really, obviously heart goes out to him, and the fact that he was strong enough to put this film out and focus and be able to do that, that I gotta just mad props to anybody that can do that and carry on, especially dealing with a tragic loss. Like I have mad respect for anybody that's able to do that. There's people close to me that's dealt with a lot of loss that were able to still just be, they keep their head down and they're just focused. They're so focused. Of course it hurts them, but they're not stopping, you know, and it's a high level of resilience that you got to have. I couldn't tell you like how I'd react if my brother were to, you know, were to do something to himself or harm himself, or if I were to lose him or my, you know, a parent or something in a tragic manner. And I really respect the fact that at the end of that movie, at the very end of that movie, it was dedicated to her. So I'm like, yeah, that man, mad props to Zack Snyder, mad props to his family. Like they did that, bro. They did that, and I'd love to see what he does next, if he does anything next. Like honestly, like I'd love to though. So I mean, it. No words, bro.
It's
That's it.
all in the wind, yeah. Well, on
But
that note, yeah, like, comment, subscribe. We thank y'all for joining us again on this episode.
absolutely,
You know, hope to hear your thoughts. You know, if you want to reach us, you know, Instagram, Twitter, uh, maybe TikTok. You know, you'll find us anywhere
hopefully
you can
not.
find
I
us.
can't stand TikTok. Maybe though.
But
Who knows?
yeah, but yeah. On that note, this is our day went well, and we're glad to be a part of yours. So have a good one.
Peace. Restore the Snyderverse.